What's up, everybody, and welcome to the debut of our Madden 23 online CFM series. It's finally time to put the questions to bed. When does the series start? What team are we going to use? It's all right in front of you. We got the New York Football Giants. I should have said Tennessee Titans to see if anybody fell for it. But we got the Giants as our team for this Madden 23 CFM series. We're back in the same league we've been in for the past, and it's going to be year 4 for us now, the Premier Madden League, right? Year 1 we had the Dolphins, year 2 we had the Lions, last year we took the Texans, and now we got the New York Giants, because you guys know what I love to do with these series. It's not taking the best teams and just winning Super Bowls. It's all about the rebuild, the path, the struggles, and eventually the glory and the benefits of turning around one of the worst franchises into one of the best. It's the challenge that no one really embraces, quite like us and these kind of online CFMs, right? And we're going to do it again, of course. And it's time for me to come to my hometown team, the New York Giants, because, I mean, let's face it, they're pretty trash looking at this roster. So what we're going to do today is we're going to assess this Giants roster. Usually when we start the series, we're just starting week 1, right? We never actually talk about the roster itself, but today I actually want to break down this roster one by one, show you guys, you know, my plans for this roster, who we consider blue chip players, who, you know, we might trade, all that stuff that's already in my head as we start this series, because when it comes to rebuilding a team, you have to have everything mapped out in advance, right? As soon as you get the team, you gotta build plans for players or give people deadlines. And when I say plan/deadlines, Daniel Jones is definitely one of these guys, right? So we're going to start at the quarterback position and talk about Daniel Jones. We're going to go through as many players as possible and go through their strengths and weaknesses on this roster. And Daniel Jones, he's 25 years old. He is in a contract year because the Giants in real life declined his option, the team option. They declined it. So he's going to make it or break it year, and he's also going to make it or break a year for us because, well, he's in a contract year. Looking at his stats, his accuracies are actually not that bad, right? Looking at his stats, like, Daniel Jones is actually a little bit better than his 70 overall shows. Like, accuracies in the 80s. Throw power is really low. That's the one problem with Daniel Jones. But these accuracies are not bad. Throwing the run could be a little bit better. Throwing the pressure is pretty bad. But, I mean, 89 speed and 89 acceleration. Now he has 53 carrying, so we're going to have to slide whenever we can, but that gives us a mobility factor at the quarterback position with Daniel Jones, and at least in year 1, we're going to give Danny Pennies a chance. I'm not calling him by the other coin name until he plays well, alright? Until then, he's Danny Pennies to me, alright? So Pennies, he'll be starting year 1, partially because we have no other options at the quarterback position. And after that, you know, he's a free agent, and you know, we might have to pay him the bag if it becomes a superstar, but I doubt it. I really, really doubt it. His backup is Tyrod Taylor, and Tyrod, you know, if Daniel Jones gets hurt, at least Tyrod is of a similar makeup, so our scheme wouldn't have to change, because with Daniel Jones' mobility, I'd like to scheme up some read options and stuff like that. I think, what's it? So, Tyrod Taylor is a mentor in his player tag, so that's actually going to help Daniel Jones' XP for this season. So, that's an added boost of having a veteran like Tyrod Taylor as your backup, something to look at with these CFMs. So, that's the quarterback position. Next up, we're going to look at the running back position. I'm going to have to explain why Sterling Shepard is at running back, and that's because of our wide receiver depth. We have a lot of receivers to look at, you know, a lot of guys that need playing time, so yeah, that Sterling Shepard thing happened. But first things first, let's talk about Saquon Barkley, the top of the running back depth chart. Sterling Shepard being a higher overall than Saquon Barkley means nothing because Saquon is our guy. Now, Saquon Barkley, similar to Daniel Jones, is in a contract year for us. We need Saquon to ball out for us, but unlike Daniel Jones, I have every intention of re-signing Saquon Barkley, all right? Like, he's 25 years old. You know, he's a tough runner. He's pretty big for Madden, like 233 pounds. That'll make him a tough runner along with his stats. His shiftiness is not quite what it used to be in Madden. 89 change of direction, but, you know, I think Saquon Barkley, it would be silly for us to move on from Saquon, I feel like. You know, there's not many running backs better than Barkley, so, you know, I think building with Saquon Barkley in mind, that's our best motion going forward. Now, someone offers a trade for Saquon that's really, really good. I'm not going to say no, but I doubt it'll happen. So Sterling Shepard is playing backup running back for us. And Sterling Shepard is in a contract year. I feel every player we've gone through so far is in a contract year. There's not that many of these guys, but we just happen to hit like 3 of them in a row here. Sterling Shepard, let's see what his tag is. He's a trade target, and that's truthful. If we can trade Sterling Shepard, I would 100% trade Sterling Shepard right now. I just don't know how many people are going to be interested in a 29-year-old who, you know, is decent. Like, he's an 82 overall wide receiver, 88 overall halfback. Like I said, I put him at halfback just so we could have, you know, and find playing time for Sterling Shepard, because at wide receiver, I don't think we're going to get that. So, yeah, Sterling Shepard's number 2 in the depth chart. Number 3, the other running back in our rotation, is Matt Breida, 27 years old. He's got 93 speed, so I think Matt Breida can be a serviceable backup for us for a year, 2 years even. And then after that, you know, he's probably going to decline with the regression, and we're going to have to, you know, potentially draft somebody behind Saquon Barkley. But I consider Saquon Barkley to be a blue chip player on this team. That's not a phrase we're just going to throw around all willy-nilly. But I will throw it around for the next player we are going to talk about, Kadarius Toney. By the way, I'm not going to talk about some of these like really bad backups like Antonio Williams. I like him in real life, but in Madden, he's not worth a damn for us, unfortunately. Anyways, we're going to shift to the wide receiver position now, and you guys are going to see why I had to move Sterling Shepard to running back. By the way, let me explain how I moved Sterling Shepard to running back. The rules in this league are, in order to move a player from wide receiver to running back, they have to be at least 195 pounds and have at least 75 carrying. Sterling Shepard hit these thresholds barely. 196 pounds, 75 carrying on the nose. So we were just able to make that move. And like I said, that's really just to find playing time for Sterling Shepard, because otherwise I would not start him with the wide receiver core we have. Wide receiver core is the strength of this Giants roster. I feel like we have an excess of wide receivers, and Kadarius Toney is the number 1 guy. He is 23 years old, out of Florida in his 2nd year. His rookie year was pretty dazzling, but also short-lived in real life because he had a lot of injuries. So he's a 79 overall, pretty decent. You guys see his agility, change of direction, juke move. Like, his shiftiness is crazy. So, you know, basically, we just have to get the ball in Kadarius Toney's hands and let him make plays. I think his archetype is playmaker, and that's true to the sense of the word. And Kadarius Toney is definitely a blue chip player on this team, right? He's our number 1 wide receiver, our number 1 guy. We're going to make sure we make Kadarius Toney one of the best wide receivers in the league by the time we're done. That's our goal. Make Kadarius Toney one of the best wide receivers in the league by the time we're done with this CFM. Now, Darius Slayton is a bit more of an interesting talking point, because let's go back to the whole free agency thing. Darius Layton, upcoming free agent, and in real life, Darius Slayton is being phased out of the rotation, right? In real life, you know, he's not as good as this 77 overall star dev indicates, but in Madden, they kind of respected him a little bit more. Like, he barely made the Giants roster in real life, was inactive in week 1, but for us, Darius Layton, with his overall, with his dev, with his route running, which is decent, you know, pretty much low 80s all around. His catching is a little bit low, so that's a little questionable. But I would say Darius Layton, I'm not going to call him a blue chip player. Even though you would think this is the kind of guy you would want to build around, we would probably be able to sign him for a fairly cheap deal. I would not rule out trading Darius Slayton. You see trade targets on him. I didn't put that on Darius Slayton. Madden did. And look, I'm not going to lie. If somebody offers a good thing for Darius Slayton, we might have to do it, because we have a couple of wide receivers under contract like Kadarius Toney, Kenny Golladay, and Wan'Dale Robinson. So next up is Kenny Golladay here. He's wide receiver 3 on the depth chart. Golladay, well, we are kind of stuck with him for now. He is under contract for the next 3 years. He has a gross contract in real life, and it is reflected in Madden. You guys see his less than optimal stats over the last couple of years due to injuries. But in Madden, Kenny Golladay is actually going to be a little bit better than in real life, because 6'4", that's all you need to know. Kenny Golladay is huge. He is a big body, and we can throw jump balls to him. 91 catch in traffic. This is our bailout option. Like, let's say it's 3rd down and 15. They better double team the Kenny Golladay, because I'm going to chuck it to him, all right? Jump balls are really good this year in Madden, and we have one of the best jump ball receivers in the league in Kenny Golladay, or not in the league, in Madden, in Kenny Golladay in the CFM. So, you know, Kenny Golladay will start for us at the beginning of the year. Like, him or Sterling Shepard. Sterling Shepard has much better route running, but, you know, given that the focus will be on getting the ball to Slayton and Kadarius Toney, granted Slayton's still on the team, you know, Kenny Golladay, I feel like, is our best number 3, because, you know, at least in year 1, he can make some stuff happen. He has no tags on him, but I will say that if we get a trade offer for Kenny Golladay, I will definitely take it. Right? Once again, I don't know how many people are interested in him, but if anybody is, like I said, he's a pretty good player, so we might actually draw some interest. Kenny Golladay, he's a definite trade target, right? Like, he and Sterling Shepard, we're going to call them, if we can trade them, we will trade them kind of players. Wan'Dale Robinson, rookie, wearing my favorite number 17. Small as hell, almost my height. I'm like 5'5". This dude's like 3 inches taller than me. That's not good in football. No one should be anywhere close to me in football. He is a rookie, though, and he's a playmaker, just like Kadarius Toney, which brings an interesting dilemma because Kadarius Toney and Wan'Dale Robinson are both ideal slot receivers. In real life, Wan'Dale's probably going to get that slot role once he's healthy. He wasn't healthy in week 1, but his player tag future starter, I would say, is right. So increase bonus XP during weekly training. I like that. So yeah, Wan'Dale Robinson's going to be our wide receiver 4, and we'll try to get him some playing time. I'm going to put Wan'Dale Robinson at kick returner for now and punt return just so we can get some reps. And if anybody gets injured, we know injuries are always a possibility. Wan'Dale Robinson, he'll be the guy to step up for sure. And, if we start Wan'Dale Robinson, he'll have to play slot because he's 5'8". We cannot put a 5'8" receiver outside with a straight face unless they're like, 96 speed plus, I feel like. Richie James is also on this team, by the way. He is a 76 overall, almost as tall as Wan'Dale Robinson. If we are really down bad on injuries or stamina or something like that, Richie James will check in. Otherwise, I think we're just going to have to play with Richie James this year on the roster. Not much else to be said, but, he would be a starting receiver on other people's teams, but you see why I'm saying that wide receiver is the strength of our team, just depth-wise. We have so many wide receivers and so little of just about anything else. So that is the plan. We're going to start Toney, Slayton, Golladay. If we trade Golladay, Wan'Dale steps in, or perhaps Sterling Shepard steps in. Probably Wan'Dale, though, because I would rather play Wan'Dale just to give him a feel in year 1. I'm not committing to Wan'Dale Robinson as like a blue chip player or anything like that. Like I said, he's 5'8". I have to put him on the field and see how he plays for us in order to commit anything. His route running is horrific. He needs a lot of development to be decent, all right? Especially if you're 5'8". You need a lot to be decent, all right? So, like, yeah, I don't know what the plan is for Wan'Dale Robinson, but the only way to find out is if we put him on the field. Now let's address the, let's go tight end position really quick, because, Jesus, man, what is going on here? Giants had Ricky Seals-Jones, he got hurt, and now they have the rookie Daniel Bellinger. Looking at his physicals, he's 6'5", 85 speed. He could be our Brevin Jordan. He could potentially be our Brevin Jordan. If you guys remember, Brevin Jordan was pretty bad when we took over the Texans. He was about this same overall area, same speed. Daniel Bellinger is actually a little bit taller. So in year 1, we could potentially go in the free agency and get a better tight end, but I think we're going to rock with the rookie Daniel Bellinger, give him a chance. Given the kind of roster we have, we're not exactly in a win-now position. If we can play young talent over somebody not that good, it makes sense, right? We could play Kenny Golladay. Kenny Golladay is actually pretty good. But, if somebody's a free agent 74 overall versus Daniel Bellinger, it doesn't really make much sense for us to play that guy, like a veteran. We'll just play Bellinger and hope for the best, see if he develops. And that'll give us, playing these guys like Wan'Dale and Daniel Bellinger will give us a sense right away on whether we need to address those positions in the draft or not. Now, offensive line, this offensive line is not terrible. We have 2 blue chip players on the offensive line. That's the good news. We haven't said the word blue chip in a while. We have 2 of them. One of these guys, Andrew Thomas, entering his 3rd year. Andrew Thomas, after his rookie year, people were questioning him, but he's low-key turned out to be a stud in the NFL. In Madden, I feel like his rating could have been a little bit higher after his previous season, but I really like Andrew Thomas in real life, and in our team, he's definitely a blue chip player, especially with how little amount of good offensive linemen there are. Andrew Thomas is 79 overall, about to be 80, is actually really good. So, I don't foresee any future where Andrew Thomas is not on our team for the duration of this cycle. Of course, the same with Evan Neal, the rookie, the 7th overall pick. I almost said 5th. We're going to get to the 5th overall pick in a second. The 7th overall pick, this guy's a legitimate freak, man. 351 pounds, and he's 77 pass block, 92 strength, 76 speed. He's faster than most guards, man. And he's huge. He's huge. Right? Like, we could play Evan Neal at guard, but Evan Neal is the only superstar player on this roster. Now, we will not unlock him at superstar until he gets 500 snaps because of the hidden dev thing in Madden. Even though we already know he's a superstar. Like, I can tell you he's a superstar. And his first ability he gets is Secure Protector, and that's going to be huge for us to try to slow down some edge rushers. Especially, you know, the division we're in and stuff like that in the NFC East. We need that, but anybody we play in general. But Evan Neal's stats are insane, man. For 77 overall, it feels like his stats are better than, you know, the average 77 overall already. So, yeah, Evan Neal, I mean, who knows how good he's going to be. I'm excited to see how good he can be. Now, really quick, Mark Lewinsky is actually supposed to be our starting right guard. And his contract kind of sucks, to be honest, because, I mean, he's on like a 3-year deal and he's 30 years old. I would not like to have a 30-year-old under that long of a deal. But, I mean, for now, Glowinski is our starting right guard, but he got injured in a practice. The CPU did the practice in week 1, the weekly training, when I loaded in, because we started in week 1 this CFM, and they got Glowinski injured. I mean, I would have probably gotten him injured too, but whatever. Glowinski's not going to play for us week 1. We have like a pretty horrific right guard playing instead. I'm going to have to find out if we have anybody better playing that spot, but Glowinski will be back for week 2. And we have John Felicio at center, similar to Glowinski, old man, journeyman, trying to find a starting gig. Now, he's only on a 1-year deal, so that center position we're definitely going to have to look at come draft time. This left guard position is interesting. We have Ty Phillips on our team, and Ty Phillips was not initially on the Giants roster, but he has a 2-year contract on him, and it's fairly cheap, so I would say Ty Phillips has 2 years to develop for us, and then we'll find out if he's the real deal or not. Being a star dev at 69 overall is pretty good. He came from the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens cut him due to a lot of injuries that he's had over the course of his young career, and the Giants picked him up on their practice squad, I think. And either way, he's on our roster right now, and being star dev, that's a blessing, because Ty Phillips not really being a part of the Giants' future, but being a part of our present, that helps a lot. Like, that, as far as CFM goes, just randomly getting a 69 overall star dev player out of the woods, I mean, we'll take that, because, like I said, that was not supposed to be on the Giants roster. We kind of got gifted this Ty Phillips guy, so we'll hope for the best for him. So that's the offensive outlook, right? Offense is not too bad on this team, right? Like, we have guys we can develop. Thomas, Neal, Slayton, Tony, Barkley, potentially Daniel Jones, potentially Bellinger here. We got 2 Daniels that may or may not make it for us, make or break out here. And yeah, I didn't really look at the if anybody has the mentor on these things, but I don't really think anybody does. So we're going to go to the defensive side of the ball now, and defense is a little sketchy, but also has some promise to it. We're going to start with the defensive line, and I did move Dexter Lawrence to defensive tackle. He originally plays D-end in the roster, but we have no good defensive tackles, and my boy Sexy Dexy with 93 strength, and should be 79 block shed. Like, he'll definitely make it happen inside for us, more than enough. So Dexter Lawrence, I mean, he was drafted as a defensive tackle, so we're going to put him at DT for us in this situation. At right end, we have Leonard Williams. And Leonard Williams, he has 2 more years on his contract, I believe. And basically, I mean, Leonard Williams is going to be paid a lot of goddamn money for 2 years, and then he's gone. Because at that point, Leonard Williams turns about 30 years old. But until then, Leonard Williams, he's going to be a good piece for us, right? Like, he's going to be a good veteran player. Sometimes you can't just have everybody young on your team. Like, not all young 80 overalls you can develop right away. Sometimes you need guys like Leonard Williams out there, and he's going to be a great veteran plug gap for us, bridge player we'll call him, right? And really quick, I did move O'Shea to, did I get his name right? Let me O'Shane, sorry. I moved O'Shane to defensive end. He plays outside linebacker, but I moved him to defensive end right there. And then at the left end position, we have Doug Costin. Now, Doug Costin, I think the Giants had on their practice squad, and he was just on the roster when we started the CFM. And once again, a gifted player, a star dev 69 overall. Look, well, these are positions we were going to be trashing, so why not be trash with at least a young player with star dev and hope for the best? that's what we're going to do with Doug Costin for sure. As we check out his contract, he's only on a 1-year deal. So the Doug Costin thing is a little more interesting, where we are going to have to really, think about Doug Costin's the guy for us. He's 24 years old. There's a chance we sign Doug Costin after this year. It's like a 2-year deal, like a short-term deal, and then, if we get a replacement for him by like year 3 of this CFM, then he's going to kick tires and be gone and maybe be a serviceable backup until then. But for now, Doug Costin's a starter. Now, we're going to be playing a 3-4 defense, so if we come out in nickel packages and stuff like that, Costin won't see the field. It's going to be Lawrence and Leonard Williams. They'll be the two big boys inside for us. So Costin, he's not going to see nearly as many snaps as Lawrence and Leonard Williams. Now we move on to the linebacking core to do this front 7. And this linebacking core, there's the good and there's the really bad. There's the really good and the really bad. Let's start with the really good, and let's talk about Kayvon Thibodeau, the 5th overall pick of this year's draft. Thibodeau, has a lot of potential, and you can see it in his stats. He starts off with 86 speed, 90 acceleration, 81 strength is not bad. Is a power rusher in this game, and he has the bull rush power move trait right there. And yeah, his block shedding could be better. We're definitely gonna need that block shedding up for him to play the run defense. 84 pursuits, pretty decent, and his traits are interesting for sure, but it could be a little bit better, to be honest. But Kayvon Thibodeau, he's definitely a blue chip player. We're definitely gonna call him a blue chip player. By the way, Dexter Lawrence, I didn't call him a blue chip player just because, that's not a tag we throw around lightly, but Dexter Lawrence is as close to it as it gets. Like, Dexter Lawrence, I didn't like to keep him around for the duration of the cycle, but listen, trades happen, all right? Trades happen sometimes. Like last year's Texans team, I didn't plan on trading Brandon Cooks right away, but if somebody was going to offer us Roquan Smith for Brandon Cooks, we were going to do it every day of the week and twice on Sundays, all right? So, that's what happens sometimes with those trades. But yeah, Thibodeau, rookie. He's star dev, by the way. We're going to have to get 500 snaps on him to get to that star dev. But once we get there, and we'll be rocking and rolling and maybe get him to superstar. And it would be really nice if we could get 2 superstars on this team, rushing the passer in Thibodeau and Azeez Ojulari. Now, Ojulari, he's in his 2nd year. And, looking at his stats, he's up there with Thibodeau, man. It's just that he's a little bit, more experienced, but he's more of a finesse rusher. He's got 76 finesse move, kind of the same block shedding situation where we have to get that up a little bit. His strength is not as high, so he's definitely going to be a little bit more sketchy as a run defender, but we're going to still play him as an outside guy. I'm not going to call Ojulari a blue chip player just because you never know what can happen, but just like Dexter Lawrence, he's as close to it as it gets. I'd love to keep him on the team all 5 years. 86 speed, 91 acceleration. There's a good chance we have our 2 bookend pass rushers for the cycle, and these are 2 great guys to build around. They're not there in year 1, but give it a couple of years, and Ojulari and Thibodeau, man, they might be racking up 10 sacks a year consistently with ease. So that's the good news. Now, we have no depth behind these guys, by the way. We have Cam Brown, and we'll talk about some stuff later about adding an extra guy to that spot, because if Giants fans know Quincy Roche, we're going to bring him back. Don't worry. I'll get to that in a moment. Now, Tay Crowder, he's our starting middle linebacker. This is not good. He's a 69 overall. In real life, man, Tay Crowder's a baller, but in Madden, they kind of shafted his ratings. I don't mean a baller like he should be 80 plus, but 69. This is horrific. 64 block shed, hit power. Hit power might need to go up if you guys saw that hit he put on Derrick Henry week 1. But yeah, Tay Crowder, unfortunately, is not going to be worth jack squat for us. None of these. I'm not even going to show you the rest of these middle linebackers. All right, they're all trash. They're all trash. These are just guys that are gonna play in year 1, and we're just gonna hope for the best. Micah McFadden, Calitro, man, Coughlin, all trash, all trash. No offense to you boys, but in Madden, absolute trash. Middle linebacker is something we have to work on, if not in a trade in the draft immediately or free agency. Actually, I haven't really touched on free agency yet. I should mention that in a moment, but we'll go through the secondary first, and then we'll look at the cap for us. So we're going to start the cornerback position. Adori Jackson is an interesting player for us. He's 26 years old. He's not somebody I would 100% commit all 5 years of the CFM to, but we have an interesting choice to make with Adori Jackson in a couple of years. He has 2 years left on his contract, and in year 3, he'll be 28 years old, and we're going to have to decide whether we want to keep him for the rest of the cycle or not. And part of that's going to depend on the development of Adori Jackson. If not, maybe we trade him in his contract year. But I'd like to keep Adori Jackson. I mean, 89 zone coverage. All we got to get is bumped up 1 to 90, and that's working good. His press is not good at all, and none of these Giants corners are good at, man coverage, press coverage. So we're definitely going to have to, even though man press is really good this year, I don't think we can run it too much just because the way these cornerbacks are, just the way our roster is, man. But, I mean, Adori Jackson with 89 zone coverage. Like I said, it's an interesting situation there. You would think we would lock Adori Jackson in right away as a blue chip player, but, I mean, we're going to have to see how he plays for us, because if he doesn't play well for us, then, we try to get some value about him elsewhere. But, I mean, given the rest of our cornerback depth, I don't know, man. We're probably going to have to keep Adori Jackson. So, Donnie Holmes, in real life, barely cracks the cornerback rotation. Did not play a lot in week 1, but for us, he's star dev, 73 years old, in his 3rd year now. And we're going to have to give him a couple of years to develop, right? If you're a star dev, you get a spot on this team, right? That's just the way it is. You're not going to be a star dev player and be on the bench on this trash Giants roster. So, Donnie Holmes, 91 speed, 70 zone, 74 man. As once again, these guys can't press worth a lick. Darnay Holmes is going to be our slot corner at 5'10". He's not tall at all. I don't think he can play outside, especially the way jump balls are. Darnay Holmes is going to have to... He's going to have to be the slot guy for us, mainly. But we're going to try to develop Darnay Holmes, especially in that slot. He could get a lot of picks. Our slot cornerbacks, usually the way we play, get a lot of interceptions when they play well. So hopefully we can make Darnay Holmes work. But, we'll see what happens. Now, our 3rd cornerback, Aaron Robinson, in his 2nd year. Robinson, he's got some good physical tools, man. He's 6 foot, he's 93 speed, and that's what's going to allow us to put Darnay Holmes in the slot. We can put Robinson outside along with Adori Jackson. Now, his coverage, I mean, sheesh Louise. None of these guys besides Adori Jackson are good at all. Like, this is really, really bad what we got going on at this cornerback position. And once again, we just straight up cannot play man with this roster with a straight face, expecting good results. But Aaron Robinson for now is going to be, the extra cornerback in our rotation. And we do also have Cordell Flott, who the Giants drafted, 21 years old. He's 6'1", so he's got some size on him, 89 speed, that's okay. 82 jumping is not great, but he does have 92 acceleration. He cannot cover just like everybody else, as you would expect from a 67 overall. I would say Cordell Flott right now, he'll have to, he probably has the futures. No, he doesn't even have the future starter tag. He's going to be our cornerback 4. I mean, it's an interesting choice between starting Cordell Flott or Aaron Robinson or even Darnay Holmes. But for now, we're going to put Cordell Flott at the 4. Any injuries, he can step up. But, Cordell Flott, I wouldn't rule him out being a part of our future plans. But as of year 1, while he's as raw as he is, we definitely have to play Aaron Robinson, who has the speed over him. That's going to be the make or break at the end of the day, that +4 speed. So now we go to our safeties, and Xavier Mckinney, baller in real life, Madden, decent, but we have a big problem with his 86 speed. For some reason, Xavier Mckinney is always 86 speed every Madden. They just live true to the word that Xavier Mckinney would run a slower 40 than half the defensive linemen in the league. But yeah, that's going to be a big problem for us Madden-wise. But we're going to try to make it work. We're going to try to make it work with Xavier Mckinney. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, yeah, we can trade Xavier Mckinney. But I don't know how many people are interested in trading for an 86 speed free safety. So, Xavier McKinney's got the captain badge on him right now. Checking out his contract. He has 2 years left on his deal. And I would say pretty fairly, 2 years. A lot of these guys have 2-year windows, like 1 or 2 year windows on their deals. And Xavier McKinney is one of them. If he doesn't play well in 2 years, I think we just have to let him walk if we can't trade him. But if he does play well, I mean, we're going to try to make the 86 speed work and hope for the best. Our other starting safety is Julian Love. Now, Julian Love, he is in a contract year this year. He does not have that extra year like McKinney. He is in a prove-it deal. He's a 76 overall. His zone coverage close to 80. His physicals are okay, 6 foot. Pretty good change of direction rating that you guys can't see. I think it's like 88 or something like that. Decent man coverage. Both of our safeties play better man coverage than like our non-Adori Jackson corners, which is kind of hilarious. But yeah, Julian Love, I'm torn on what to do with Julian Love, because if we can trade Julian Love, I think I would. But also, if Julian Love can develop for us, I would love to sign Julian Love to a cheap deal and just let him be our guy on a cheap deal and really develop him potentially into a star or superstar, because Julian Love is the kind of safety you can build around. Like, we can't be greedy and be like, yeah, I need a 95 speed safety, 6'3". Not everybody's Caden Stearns, all right? Not everybody's Caden Stearns. Sometimes you got to build around a Julian Love. He's got kind of the same stats that Will Harris had in Madden 21 when we had the Detroit Lions. And I didn't even play Will Harris year one, and Will Harris ended up becoming a superstar for us. So Julian Love, he can be that guy. He's probably in the biggest dilemma on this roster as far as what we do with him, because literally anything can happen with Julian Love, and it can all happen very quickly. By the time the trade deadline comes up, what we'll figure out with him, if we decide to sign him to a contract, like, contract negotiations with Julian Love could go pretty deep into the season. With a guy like, you know, Saquon Barkley or Darius Layton, we could sign them pretty quickly. But with Julian Love, you know, who knows? So, yeah, we have really bad backup linebackers, by the way, if you didn't notice. Like, he's got God, awful. Anyways, we got to talk about Dane Belton. He is a rookie on this roster, 66 overall, and he could become a starting safety either in the place of Julian Love or Xavier McKinney, mainly Julian Love. He's pretty decent physically, 91 speed, 93 acceleration. Now, none of these safeties have hit power, which is kind of unfortunate. I like my safeties to be able to hit and play the run game, and none of these guys, I mean, McKinney kind of can, but, I mean, sheesh, this guy can't. Julian Love, he was a former cornerback. He can't really do that, but Dane Belton is, I mean, especially if we trade Julian Love in year one, this would be the guy that takes over at the starting role, and his cover stats are pretty awful, but once again, you know, developing the talent on this roster and evaluating the talent on this roster, figuring out what we need to address immediately, what we can address in free agency, and what we address later. That's all very important in the rebuild. And a guy like Dane Belton, while we have him on this team, it would be nice to get him some playing time to figure out what we got with this guy. So, Dane Belton, keep an eye on that name, Dane Belton, because he could show up on the field occasionally, and he can make some plays, and he could shake up this depth chart a little bit. This guy won't, by the way. McLeod, like, open up your other eye, bro. I don't think you took that picture with the sun in your eyes. I don't know what's going on there. So that is the evaluation of offense and defense. Let's go to special teams really quick. We have Jamie Gillian, who for some reason is star dev as a 71 overall at punter, the Scottish Hammer. I'm not sure what in the world is going on here. He's got 1 year on his deal. He won't be back with the team, all right? He's got 91 kick power and like 76 kick accuracy. I can promise you we're not going to re-sign that guy. I can promise you, man. They shafted him in Madden ratings. Now, Graham Canoe, on the other hand, Graham Canoe is actually an absolute beast. He has 98 kick power and 90 kick accuracy. I would say Graham Canoe is probably a top 5 kicker in Madden 23 in like regs. Like 98 kick power right away off the bat makes him a freak of nature out there. Like he's gonna be hitting 60 plus yarders for us as long as I can get the accuracy down. And the accuracy will be pretty good because we have 90 kick accuracy on this man as well. Now the only thing with Graham Canoe, he is 35 years old. I don't know when kickers retire, but we're gonna ride Graham Canoe until the wheels fall off of him. All right, all right. So really quick, the specialist out here. Obviously, Adori and Thibodeau will be our edge rushers. Inside, like I mentioned, Lawrence and Leonard. Slot, Donnie Holmes, and, you know, Cordell Flott. We come out some dime defense. Flott and Dane Belton, they'll definitely get some looks. Sub linebacker, I'll talk about that one in a moment because we actually have a signing to make. Saquon Barkley is going to be our workhorse out there. And then Sterling Shepard. I mean, we're going to try to make this whole Sterling Shepard running back. It probably won't work. It'll go in the free agency, and we'll just not talk about it. But it's a thing to try to get him some more touches. He also, you know, can play himself onto the field if we go on 4 receiver sets here over Wan'Dale Robinson, because maybe. But for now, as you see, Kadarius Toney is our slot out there over Wan'Dale. Right now, I don't think it makes sense for us to play Wan'Dale Robinson. And here's our practice squad. Now, on this practice squad, we actually have some guys to sign. We have 2 guys that I like to sign off this practice squad that we're about to do. One of them is Fabian Moreau. The other one is Quincy Roche. And we're going to do that in a moment. But first things first, we have to make a free agency signing. Now, I know what you're wondering. Oh, yeah. You could sign a bunch of free agents pretty easily, right? Like, look at all these guys. Why don't you just sign all of them? So, in a CFM that is, like, well-ran, you cannot just go into free agency and sign a bunch of guys like that, because that's just not fair. It's not just like first pick of the kitty litter. You can do all of this, right? So what they do in these kind of free agents or these leagues is they have a free agency draft at the start of the CFM. And we ended up with the 23rd pick in this free agency draft, and that didn't really leave us many good players to choose from. The guy I ended up choosing was Jaquiski Tartt. There's not any young studs in this, trust me. I try to look. Jaquiski Tartt, the reason why I picked him is he can play sub linebacker in this league. The sub linebacker requirements, because there actually are requirements on who and who can't play sub linebacker from the safety position in this league. You have to be at least 215 pounds, have at least 80 hit power, and have a change of direction rating under 90. I think his COD rating is like 78 or something like that, so he's well under. But, you know, he's 30 years old. He can be a sub linebacker for us for a year or two. And I feel like we really needed to get a guy like this because our middle linebackers are so bad. They have such bad ratings that, like, having somebody that can be in here, 72 man cover, 75 zone, like we really do need a guy like this, and he's automatically better. Like, he has the same block shedding as some of our linebackers. I think he has 66 block shedding. Some of our linebackers don't even have 66 block shedding. So yeah, we quote unquote drafted Jaquiski Tartt in the free agency draft. Otherwise, we cannot touch any of these guys. The next advance is week 2, and we are going to be able to sign only one guy that week, I think. So now with 53 guys on our roster, I'm going to have to put 2 guys on our practice squad. Now, one of them will not be Jack Cohn because the league requires us to have 3 quarterbacks on our roster. So Jack Cohn for now is just going to have to be a placeholder to fit the rule requirements. Now, as far as who we throw onto the practice squad, give me a minute to figure this one out. All right, I found our guys we're putting on the practice squad. So one of them is going to be this guy, Tom and Fox. Welcome to the practice squad, Tom, and 61 overall. We have no purpose for you. And the other guy we're going to put on this practice squad is going to be Jason Pinnock. Actually, we could put a cornerback on there because we are going to sign a cornerback from our practice squad, but nah, we're just gonna put this Pinnock guy on there. We don't really need him. So to the okay, I think our practice squad is full, so we're going to have to do this methodically. I'm going to have to do this one by one. So we're going to get Quincy Roche. We just put a practice squad guy on from the linebacker position. Now we're going to put Quincy Roche on. Quincy Roche doesn't really have a future for us, but I mean, look, as a backup, 83 speed. If somebody gets injured, we can put Quincy Roche in there and hope and pray, I guess. So Quincy Roche, welcome to the team. And then we're going to put this guy out here, Pinnock. You can go onto the practice squad now that we opened up some space. And in order to get Fabian Moreau. Now, Fabian Moreau is actually a veteran on this practice squad. He's 28 years old. We also have Tony Jefferson on here. Tony Jefferson could be a guy we call up, but he's 86 speed. Like, I guess he can be our Xavier McKinney replacement if he gets injured. But, yeah. CJ Board is also on this thing. He's 6'1" with 92 speed. CJ Board would be a guy we could potentially call up, but that would be if we had massive injuries. His stats aren't bad, but wide receiver, like I mentioned before, that's a position we kind of have covered. So Fabian Moreau, now he kind of shakes up that cornerback depth chart, right? Because like, whoa, wait a second. Fabian Moreau is the second best corner on this team. Do we play him over Aaron Robinson? And the answer to that is no, because we are going to be evaluating our young talent first and Fabian Moreau second. Fabian Moreau is a little higher zone, but it's none too crazy where I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to play Fabian Moreau over Aaron Robinson. But if there is an injury, I would say there's a chance we play Fabian Moreau over Cordell Flott. But either way, I would rather have this guy on our actual team than our practice squad. Makes no sense to have him there. 93 speed is pretty good at cornerback position. And, yeah, Fabian Moreau, we could even re-sign him into next year if he doesn't lose anything in regression. So, yeah, Fabian Moreau could be a guy that plays some cornerback for us, to be completely honest, man. He has 67 hit power. He has more hit power than anybody in our secondary, our safety spot. So, honestly, Fabian Moreau, man, this just came to my head. He might have to play some safety for us, especially if Xavier McKinney ain't it. I mean, Fabian Moreau might have to be a plug gap for us. So that's our roster evaluation there, and I'm not going to set the season goals just yet. We'll set the season goals here real quick. I'm going to set the season goals right now because I'm going to let you guys know that we're not going to make the playoffs. We're not going to win the Super Bowl. Well, I'm not going to say we're not going to make the playoffs. We're going to try to make the playoffs, but I don't think we will. We're going to make our goals 7 wins on the year, and I'm going to show you guys our schedule, and you guys can kind of figure out why I said that because our schedule in Season 1 It's kind of some hellacious stuff out there. But yeah, I mean, with this roster, I'm not expecting a playoff push. Our division is pretty tough this year. As always, they put some of the best players in our division, so we can't just win the division easy, I guess. They got to give us comp and put us through hell. Last year, our division was legitimate hell. This year, more the same, I suppose. So let me run through our year one schedule real quick from week 1 to week 17. Now, honestly, I don't even know who I'm playing week 1. The Titans and the Colts. The league is still trying to get players on these teams. Like, the guy that's on the Colts might be the guy we play week 1, the Titans. Like, it's weird. I don't know who we're playing week 1. Like, the league advances tomorrow, Wednesday. I'm putting this video out Tuesday night. The league advances Wednesday, I think. And I don't know who I'm playing this week. I don't know who the hell the Titans are. Like, most of the games have been played this week. We haven't played yet. We're about to play. And by the way, with the league advancing Wednesday, that means we have to play our game soon. That means the first videos of this series, as far as gameplay-wise, will be coming out pretty soon. So look out for that. I don't know who I'm playing, but it's going to be a tough opponent. If we play the guy that's the Colts right now that takes over the Titans, that's the guy that was the Buffalo Bills last year in the CFM, and we had some good battles in the playoffs for sure. So we're going to have a hell game against them, and we're going to have a hard time stopping Derrick Henry. Week 2, we have the Carolina Panthers. This is actually like one of the only gimme games on our schedule as far as a game I would say go into this one having a good chance of winning, and we still might lose it. This is the same guy that has been the commissioner of the league, that is always the Carolina Panthers, that we always play. It's the same guy. He has the same PSN that some of you diehards might be able to notice. So, same guy. I don't think I've ever lost to him yet, but, like, look, anything can happen any given Sunday. We've had some good games against him, too. So, I mean, especially with this Giants Year 1 roster, this could be the time for us to finally lose to the Carolina Panthers. Week 3, Monday Night Football, we get our first divisional opponent, and our first divisional opponent is definitely a tough one. He's got the Dallas Cowboys for one. Like, we got to keep in mind, all the teams in our division are much better than our New York Giants. We're already at that disadvantage. But this guy, he made the Super Bowl in season 1 of last year. He had the Green Bay Packers. He lost to the Colts in the Super Bowl, barely. I think he made the playoffs every year in the NFC side with the Green Bay Packers. And now he's got another really good team in the Dallas Cowboys with Zeke and all of them. So, and, you know, we're going to have to worry about that for sure. Try not to get sacked too many times by Micah Parsons. Week 4, we have the Chicago Bears. Now, even though the Bears are like us, like a bottom 3 CFM roster, this guy won the Super Bowl in year 4 of the CFM last year. He was only in the league for like 3 seasons, and he made the Super Bowl twice. Won it in Season 4 and lost it in the final season, Season 5. So this guy's pretty good. We got our hands full, but he's going to have a bad team like us, so we might actually have a pretty good battle with the Bears. Week 5, we are going to London to play the Green Bay Packers. Now, when I mentioned the Bears guy lost in year 5, he was the New York Jets. He lost to the Washington football team they were at the time. And this was the guy that used the Washington football team and won the Super Bowl in Season 5. He's technically the defending Super Bowl champion of the Premier Madden League. He's got the Green Bay Packers on top of that. So, not only do we know we have a good user, he has got a top team in CFM. He's got Aaron Rodgers. And that's going to be quite the battle for us, especially with our secondary. Our secondary is going to be tested in that game more than any of these games coming up here, right? Like, you know, obviously our run defense will be tested week 1, week 3. Our secondary is going to be put to the test here for sure. Week 6, we have the Baltimore Ravens. This guy, he made the playoffs 2 times last year. He was not the best, but he's got Lamar Jackson. And anytime anybody's got Lamar Jackson, that gives you headaches. That gives you a trump card over your opponent. So, week 6, we go against the Baltimore Lamar Jacksons, and we're just going to have to hope and pray for the best out there. Week 7, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, this guy, he had the Lions last year and was actually able to take the Lions to the Super Bowl in year 3. Lions are really bad. They're better this year in CFM, but last year they were really bad. So this guy's he's been a good user in the league for like the couple of seasons he's been in. So he's got a bad team though, so this could be another one of those bad, you know, rebuild versus rebuild kind of battles like the Bears and our upcoming opponent, the Seattle Seahawks. Some of you diehards might recognize this gamer tag or PSN. This is the guy that was the Minnesota Vikings in Madden 21. And if you guys remember, we were the Detroit Lions. We had a lot of memorable battles. We were always battling for the division crown with the with, at the time, the Minnesota Vikings. And this guy has, we always have good games, so I'm sure it's going to be more the same. And we both got trash teams, so we're just going to have to make do of it in week 8. And after all of that, we go to the bye week and we just settle down. And we're just like, all right, we get a break. We get a break. We get to evaluate what we're doing, what our record is, what direction we're going in. At this point, the trade deadline is done. And then we focus on the second half of the season. We find out who we got, what kind of trades we made, if we made any. And then we casually go into week 10. And even though it's a CPU team, this is problem right, all right? Whenever he joins the CFM, probably should be any minute now, because, like, you know, he probably has a game to play soon, considering we advance tomorrow, I think. But yeah, this is problem, man. The problem right, the GOAT of Madden competitive play. And we just, I mean, he's got the Texans, but we have problem on our schedule this year. And I mean, yeah, that's gonna be a hell of a game right there for sure. And if you thought that was bad, week 11, we got the Detroit Lions and K-Mac. So back-to-back games against competitive players. And these Lions, I think by the time we play the Lions, Jameson Williams, he might be back. I think he's injured right now, like on the rosters, because this league starts with pre-existing injuries. I think Jameson Williams will be back by then. So yeah, these Lions, I mean, that's gonna be a hell of a game. It's K-Mac, so that alone makes it hell. So I don't know how we're gonna do in these two games. We're just gonna hope and pray for the best. Then we got the Cowboys again. And now we can talk about our final two divisional opponents, the Commanders and the Eagles. Now, the Commanders, if you got a keen eye, their user is the user that had the Tennessee Titans last year when we were the Houston Texans. And once Mole stopped using the Indianapolis Colts, this was a guy we had the most, like, big battles with in the division, along with the guy that used the Jaguars. He's the Bills now, by the way. That's going to be a crazy team. But, yeah, we were once again in the same division as this guy for a second year in a row. And my guy, Wimmy, put some ass kickings on us last year, man. We lost by 61 to those Titans. If you guys may remember, we lost by 61 to the Titans, all right? We lost a lot to the Titans, but we also had some big triumphs against the Titans. We had a playoff win against them. Either way, though, like me and him, we match up pretty evenly. We have a lot of good games, so it's going to be more of that through this cycle. And he's got the Commanders, so you know, he's going to right away have that really good front seven to work with, a really good defense to work with, and some pretty good options on offense with Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin. Week 14, we had the Philadelphia Eagles. This guy, he was the Patriots at the start of the year, and then he was the Vikings mid-year. He made the playoffs a couple of times as the Vikings, so you know, he struggled with the Patriots, made the playoffs as the Vikings, so maybe he's on the upswing here. Either way, I don't have too much of a scouting report on this guy. I think I've only played this guy once, so I really don't know what we're getting out of these Eagles. That's going to be kind of a blind challenge. We also put an Eagles week 18, as you guys might see. And then we actually put a Commanders 2 times in 3 weeks. So this stretch here, 4 divisional games in a row, this is going to be, you know, if we have a chance to win the division after surviving this week 10, week 11 slate thing, we have a chance to win. This is good. These are going to be the games that we have to at least pull 3 out of 4 W's to have a chance to win the division. Because I'm not saying, like, even though I'm saying all these games are tough, like, I'm not saying we're not going to be competitive. Like, we're going to try to win the division. You guys remember with the Texans, we were, what, 7-7? And then the wheels kind of fell off right there. But I mean, with these Giants, you know, like, we made the Super Bowl year 1 with the Detroit Lions, man, 20. We got to the divisional round year 1 with the Miami Dolphins year 1. Like, it's not out of the window year 1 because we're really freestyling with these rosters year 1. It's a lot of bad players on everybody's rosters, even the good teams, and that, I feel like, kind of gives us an edge to where, like, you know, we know how to play with these bad players, right? Like, we know how to make the most out of nothing, maybe compared to some other people. The Minnesota Vikings, week 16. This is going to be the guy that's been the Cowboys the last 2 years of the CFM, and last season, or last Madden, I should say, this guy made the playoffs every year with the Cowboys. Never made a Super Bowl, but was always in the divisional round or championship game. So definitely going to be a tough matchup here late in the season. Week 17, even though it says we have a user for the Colts, I have no idea who is going to be the Colts. That's TBD, to be completely honest. But given the other players in that AFC South division, it's probably going to be a really good user with those Indianapolis Colts. So that'll be a fun one, I suppose. But as of right now, I don't really have the scouting report. In week 18, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's our year 1 outlook. And if we get 7 wins out of that, I'm okay with that. Anything else, added bonus, if we make the playoffs, absolutely terrific. But, I mean, year one, we're not exactly going to fine-tune our roster to get maximum results. We're fine-tuning our roster to evaluate young talent, and if that young talent balls out, then we got ourselves a fun little team here year one. But otherwise, that's the New York Giants, man. Like I said, we're going to do our little outro here. I love tough rebuilds, and the Giants are one of the toughest ones in this year's Madden. They're arguably either the second or third worst team to start out with in a CFM. The worst team is the Texans, again, but we're not going to do the Texans back-to-back times. We want to get fresh blood out there. But after that, it's probably between the Chicago Bears and the New York Giants as who is the worst roster in the league. As I'm going to show you guys these injury report, by the way, because there's a lot of, like I mentioned, pre-existing injuries are on. So there's a lot going on here with people that are not even injured for that long, but are on the IR, so we can't take them off. And then there are people who are actually injured, like Colin Johnson, who tore his Achilles in preseason, which was unfortunate because he was doing really good in preseason for the Giants. But yeah, the only guy that's not can actually return here is Golwinski, who has this practice injury. So yeah, between the Bears and the Giants, one of those were the second worst team. And to me, like, as far as a rebuild goes, I feel like having a franchise quarterback automatically makes your rebuild easier, especially a guy like Justin Fields, who is like really good in Madden-wise with his ratings, his physicals. Now, I mean, you can argue the other way that the Bears are tougher because they just have less talent than the Giants. Like, the Bears, you can probably count on one hand how many blue chip players they have. The Giants, if I include guys like Dexter Lawrence and stuff like that, you could argue they have like 7 people maybe. More than the Bears, I would say. But like, the quarterback position makes this a tougher one to me because Daniel Jones is truly a question mark. We have to put him on the field to see what he does. So yeah, like, we love embracing the toughest challenges. We're back at it once again with the New York Giants. We're going to have some fun. You guys know me. I love building the roster as much as I love playing the games, if not more. And this year I'm going to try to really focus on showcasing you guys how we build this roster, and that starts with this video. Go more in depth with it more than ever, and yeah, really try to focus on whatever the hell to improve in franchise this year. Free agency, I guess. I mean, franchise is like the twisted little sister no one cares about, the middle child of Madden. They don't really do too much with franchise. We'll figure out what the hell they change with franchise and have some fun with that. So yeah, that's the end of this video, I suppose, man. As you guys can see, most of these week 1 games have been played. We're one of the few teams that haven't played, mainly because we don't have an opponent yet. But yeah, leave a like if you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any thoughts, opinions on this roster, if you guys have any thoughts on, potential roster decisions, definitely throw those out, because I mean, there's been times in the past where I've taken suggestions from the comment section, without even mentioning it, where I'm just like, I like this idea. Like, I love hearing you guys' feedback on what you guys think about the roster and all that. So let me know what you guys think about the way we have this roster set up, what we can do with it and all that. And really quick, by the way, our draft picks are we don't own anybody's future draft picks besides like a future 7th from the Ravens, and we don't have a 6th round pick. Besides that, we have all our own draft picks. So yeah, that's all. So yeah, leave a like if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe for more Madden 23 gameplays. Next time I see you guys with these Giants, it's gonna be week 1 against the Tennessee Titans. We're gonna be hyped for that one. It's gonna be a learning experience right off the bat. 10-minute quarters, all Madden, CFM. By the way, it's all Madden. I don't think I've ever showed this before, but the league's all Madden I swear to God, it's all Madden. It is all Madden. That's a visual glitch. All right, that's a visual glitch right there. It is all Madden. If I load this up again, you guys will see it is all Madden. I don't know why it does that. But yeah, all Madden simulation, all that good stuff. So yeah, we're going to be thrown to the fire. So on that note, I'll catch you guys next time. You made it to the end of this video. You're a true MVP. And I'll catch you true MVPs later.